Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this presentation by ATFX, which is a walkthrough of the MT4 platform. So welcome along, everyone. Please drop me a note to say hi, where you're from, and also I'd just like to check that everyone can hear me correctly and see the screen. So any problems, do let me know. So first of all, I'm just going to give you an opportunity, a couple of moments each, for the next two slides, which are the disclaimers and risk warnings. So if you could just take a couple of moments to read through these, and once you've read through and agreed with everything therein, then we can get going with the presentation. So we just have one more of these risk warning slides. This is it here. So just have a quick look through that. I'll give you a couple of minutes, a couple of moments even, and then we can get going. Just waiting for the last couple of people to trickle into the room as well. So have a look at those risk warnings, and if you're in agreement, then welcome along to the webinar, and we'll get started in just a moment. Okay, that should be enough time to read through those. So welcome along, everyone. My name is Chloe and I am with Trade with Precision, and we bring you this webinar in association with ATFX. And what we're going to be going through today, first of all, a step-by-step guide of setting up your desktop and profiles in MT4. And we'll have a look at creating some templates of your desired chart setups. And we'll also have a look at setting up multiple timeframes in one screen. MT4 is a really fantastic platform with quite a lot of functionality, and we're not going to be able to get a chance to go through all of that functionality today, but hopefully we'll have a chance to go through enough to get you started. And then just to finish things off, we'll have a little bit of information about ATFX as a broker. So without further ado, I am going to just take you through to the MT4 platform, and we will have a walkthrough of the functionality of MT4. So hopefully most of you will have already downloaded MT4 and opened the program. And if you have, then the starting screen that you should be faced with should look as something a little bit like this. So generally the default profile is one like this with 4 charts up here. And that's generally where we start off. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to close off all of that, and I'm going to actually start from scratch here just to show you how to build your own profile. So I'm going to close all of these charts just by clicking in the close red cross in the top right hand corner of each of these charts. And I am going to start again. Now, a couple of things. This window here, let me see if I can just get a pen up. This window here is called the Market Watch. This one here is the Navigator. And this one here at the bottom is called the Terminal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of all of those things. And then we have a clean base to start from. What I like to do as well, I like to have as much screen space as I can just dedicated to charts. So we've got a few options up here. We've got this is where we see the different time frames here. If we just click on the left-hand side of that bar there, we can click and drag and move it up to the top. And if we do the same with the one where we have the cursor just here, left-hand side, click and drag, move it to the top, and then we get rid of an extra layer of screen space there. So we've got a little bit more space for our charts once we put them back on. So up here with view, I'm going to start building that back up. So I'm going to click on view and market watch. That's going to bring up this side panel again here. I'm going to go to View again, and I'm going to click on Navigator, and that brings the Navigator back up. And then I'm going to click one last time, View and Terminal. Those are the things that I want to be able to see. Now we can adjust the size of those just by dragging them. So I like to have my Navigator a little bit smaller and my Market Watch a little bit bigger. So I've just dragged that down there. The Navigator is where we can see our account info. Obviously, I've just got a demo account here just to play around with for you guys to show you a few little bits of functionality within MT4. And within that, if we expand over here on the left-hand side, we see a little plus. If we click on that to expand, we've got a list of all of the available indicators over there as well. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Just to go to the Market Watch as well, you'll notice here under Market Watch, we've got the symbols. So up at the top of the list here, we've got dollar Swiss, we've got pound dollar cable, we've got euro dollar, etc. So we've got a few currencies up there. Now you might be thinking that's not a great deal of currencies to look through, a great deal of instruments to trade. They're not all listed there, and the best way I find to get them all listed there is simply to right click on a blank space within this Market Watch. So just here, I'm going to right click there. And if we go to, we've got these options here, symbols, and we've got show all, hide all. So I'm going to click on show all. And that gives me a whole lot of additional symbols that I can look through. So now I have a lot more options. I've got all the currencies there. I've got gold and silver down here. I have got an even more exotic currencies, Mexican peso, things like that. And I also have indices. So for example, the Hong Kong 50, I've got the DAX here, the German 30, I've got the UK 100, the FTSE. So all of those options as well, and then US oil. So it gives us a lot more options there. So just to recap, that was a right click within the Market Watch window, and I just went to show all there, and that gives us a lot more options of things that we can trade. Now, what I'm going to do to bring up a new chart, by the way, guys, I mean, I'll probably need to run through a few basic things here before we get around to some questions. But if there are any burning questions that you have, please do feel free to ask away, and I'll see if I can get round to all of those, hopefully before the end of the session. Obviously, depending on how many questions we have to go through from everyone, but I will do my best to answer those off as best as I can. So feel free to pop those into the questions box. So there's a few ways to get a new chart window up. What I like to do, I like to use the right click functionality quite a lot. So I'm just going to right click up here at the top on dollar Swiss, and I'm just going to click on chart window. And that gives me a new chart. This is the default look of the chart that you will get when you do that. So it's just a black background. We can see the grid, and we've got these green bars. So I'm just going to have a play around with this particular chart to start off with. First of all, I am going to look at zooming in and zooming out. So in order to zoom in and zoom out, we can grab hold of this bottom line here where we see the date. If we just click and hold on there and then drag from one side, if we drag towards the right, it zooms in. And if we drag towards the left, it zooms out and gives us more information on the screen. So dragging, clicking and holding, and then dragging from left to right, we can zoom in and out there. Another thing that we can do is toggle between the types of charts. So this, we can see the OHLC bars. This is an OHLC bar chart. If we just click on this one here, let me get a pen up here. up here, this is where we can toggle between the different types of charts. So if I click on that one there, that gives me a candlestick chart. So if you want to look at the OHLC bars or the candlesticks, we've also got a line chart there. So I'm going to leave it on candlesticks for now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the look of the chart. So I am going to right-click on the chart, and I'm going to go down to Properties. Now, this is where we can change the look of the chart. We can see here we have got a black background. I'm going to change the background to white, or close to white. I'm going to change it to white. The foreground then I will need to change, so I'm going to change that to black. That just means I'll be able to see the text. Obviously, I can't see white text on a white background, so we need to change the foreground if we're going to have the background as white. I'm going to take off the grid. I don't like having a grid on my chart, so for that, I'm just going to click on None. For the grid, that removes the grid. The bar up, I'm going to have as lime. The bar down, I'm going to have as red. And then bull candle, I'm going to have as, I think I'll have that as lime green actually. And the bear candle, I'm going to have as red again. The other things I don't actually need to change really. So I'm going to leave everything as it is for now and just click OK. And there we can see that we now have a candlestick chart, white background. It's just a nice clean chart. I'm going to drag this in a bit because what I'm going to do next, actually no, I'll continue to set up a template. We'll go through a few indicators and things. So we might want to put some indicators on this chart, and I'm going to put some moving averages on. So under indicators over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to click the little plus that is just to the left-hand side of trend. And there we see we have moving averages. All I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and hold, and I'm going to drag it over to my chart and drop it onto the chart. Now that will bring up this box where we get to choose the period of the moving average. So I'm going to put a 20 moving average on there. I am going to make that blue. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker so we can choose the type of line we want, whether it's a solid line or a dashed line, and then here the thickness of the line as well. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker there. I'm using a simple moving average. We can also have exponential, smooth, linear weighted. I'm just going to leave it as a simple moving average and apply to close. And I'm just going to click OK on that. And that is going to give me a simple moving average on my chart. Now, I'm going to put another moving average on there. So I'm just going to go back over to my left-hand side where the navigator is. Under my symbols, trend, moving average, pick it up again, left click and hold, drag it onto my chart. And this one, I'm going to put on a 50 simple moving average. I'm going to make that one red. It's already now the thickness that I want. And I'm just going to click OK. I'm also going to put another moving average. So back over to the navigator, left-hand side, click and drag moving average onto the chart. I'm going to put a 10 moving average on there, and I'm going to make that one black and click OK. So those are my moving averages on there. I can, again, click on this X-axis at the bottom here and hold and drag to the left to view more information on the screen or zoom out, and drag to the right to zoom in. Now, another thing that we might notice is that if we want to scroll back through the chart, we can click on the screen and we can just drag the information along. But we'll notice when we let go of that, it can flick back to the beginning, and that is where these buttons up here come into play. So if we just uncheck that one, then it means we can scroll back to the chart and it will stay where we leave it when we scroll back. So that's another thing that you might want to play around with, and clicking on that again will just bring us back to the most recent price action on that chart. So I'm going to have a look at some other indicators now. I'm going to add my MACD and RSI. Those are commonly used indicators, and those are under oscillators. So under oscillators, we've got MACD here, and we have relative strength index, that's our RSI. So I'm just going to drag the RSI onto the chart. I'm going to leave this as the standard, so 14 period RSI. I'm actually going to make it black and click OK. So there I have the RSI there. Just going to make it a little bit narrower because I don't want it to take up too much space. And there we have the RSI. Same thing for MACD. I'm going to drag it, click on it, left click, drag it onto the chart, and there we have the MACD. I'm going to leave all of the default settings as they are, 12, 26, 9. I'm not going to play around with the colors or anything like that. I'm just going to click OK, and there we have the MACD as well. So I'm just going to drag those two to the bottom there. Now that I've got the chart looking the way I want it to look, what we want to do is we want to save this as a template, and that means that next time we open a chart, we don't have to go through all of this we don't have to go through all of this rigmarole each time we open a chart. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to template, and I'm going to go to save template. Now I'm just going to call this template test. You can call it anything you want if you've got a particular strategy that you're setting a template up for or anything like that. You can just call it whatever you want. We click on save, and then if we right click again and go to template, we'll see that that template has been added to our list of available templates. So now if I go and right click here again somewhere, I might want a chart of cable, for example, right click, chart window, and now I have a new chart window. All I need to do, there's a couple of ways of doing this. We can either right click and on the chart area, go to template and click on test there, and that will load up that template on that chart. Or alternatively, we can go up here. Let me just draw that one in for you. This one here, that is our template menu. So if we click on that, it brings us down a drop down box, and we can also get into those options there. So save template or load template, or the drop down box here, and load our test template up there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just put those charts alongside each other, and an easy way of doing that so that we can see as much as possible on our screen is if we just go to window and we click on tile windows, then that will nicely put those two charts next to each other. So we can actually have any number of charts open at any one time. On MT4, we might want to have 4 as it was originally. We might want to have 2 or 3 at any one time. However many we have, we can either resize them manually like this and slot them together, or we can go to window and tile windows. We can choose to tile them horizontally if we want them like that, or vertically, however we might want them. So the next thing to do, once we have got our template set up, is maybe I'll show you how to switch between currency pairs. So we can do what I've just been doing, which is to right click in the market watch under the symbol that we want a new chart of. So for example, dollar CAD here, I right click on dollar CAD chart window, and there I have a dollar CAD chart. And I can do the same thing with that one. So I can go to this template drop down menu here, click on test, my test template, and there it is. I can go to window, tile vertically, and then I have my 3 charts next to each other. Alternatively, if I just want to have my 3 charts here, I don't want to add any more charts, but I just want to scroll through and look at different currency pairs or different instruments, all I need to do is go to the market watch, click on a symbol. So for example, Euro GBP, I'm going to click and hold and then drag it onto this chart space here. And we can see that will change that chart from dollar Swiss, which is what it was, onto Euro GBP. So I can click and drag on any currency pair or any instrument. I'll put the FTSE on there. Any instrument we like, we can click and drag onto the chart, and that's how we can scroll through various different trading instruments. So the next thing I will show you is how to go through different time frames. So going through different time frames, very simply, up here, the chart that we have selected, we can scroll through the time frames up here. So if we want to look at the daily time frame, for example, just click on D1, and that will bring up the daily chart of whatever is in this particular chart. So for this example, it's dollar Swiss. So if we want the 4-hourly chart, then we click on H4. If we want the 15-minute chart, we click on M15, etc. And that's how we can scroll through the different time frames. So what we might want to do actually is we might want to have the same currency pair or the same symbol on all 3 of these charts, but we might want to have the weekly time frame on the left hand side. We might want to have the daily time frame in the middle, and then we might want to have an intraday time frame. So let's say the hourly time frame on the right hand side there. So we can have 3 different time frames of the same currency pair or the same instrument all up at the same time. And I think what I might do is save this now as a profile. So if we go to File up here, top left-hand corner, we can go to Profiles here, and we can go to Save As. And we can enter a new profile name. So again, I'm just going to call this Test Profile. Click OK. And so then we'll notice that if we want to go to profiles again, we now have that new profile here. So I could go to another profile, such as I'm not sure what these ones are actually. They're the default ones that come with the program. If we want to get back our last profile, we just go to File, Profiles, click on Test Profile, and that will bring back everything that we had set up. So we can have several profiles set up. We might want one which has the weekly, daily, and hourly time frames on. We might want another one which has several different instruments. We might want to be looking at the pound at the same time as the FTSE index, at the same time as gold, for example, or the dollar index, and we could have that all saved to a profile. Or we might have another strategy which has another set of indicators on, and we could have all of those saved to another profile so that it's easy to run through and switch through those profiles. So adding a pair which is not on the market watch. The first thing to do, if it's not on the market watch, just go right click and go to show all, and that will give you all of the options available with this particular broker for trading. So if we click on show all, that will give us all the options here. So when you first open the program, you won't have all of these options on here. And in order to get them, right click, click on show all, and that will give you all of the options available to trade in the market watch. We can also right click and go to symbols, and we then see all of the options here that are available. So all of the options available with this particular broker and server, we can see under here. So if there are any more that you wish to add, this is where you will find them. Anything that's not here is not available on the particular server that you are logged onto on the MT4. So you can add and remove individual if if there's one that you don't want to see. For example, if you don't want to see the US dollar versus the Czech koruna, then we just click on hide and we can get rid of those. So any ones that we want to hide, we just hide those, and then that will be removed from the market watch. So that's the way to add and remove symbols from the market watch. So we've gone through setting up very basic charts. We've gone through the market watch, the Navigator. On the Navigator, we have our account info. So if we want to log into another account, perhaps you've got a couple of different live accounts, this is where we can do it. So we just right click under accounts and we can log into a trade account, we can open a new account, etc. Under indicators, we have a lot of different options of indicators in MT4 already. These all come as standard in MT4. We have got oscillators, we've got trend indicators, Bollinger Bands, we've got stochastics, we've got all kinds of different indicators, volumes, we've got average true range just here. We've got CCI, we've got all kinds of different indicators down here. So if there's one that you want to play around with, then by all means find it over here, drag it onto the chart, and away you go. Expert advisors, that's where one can have specific bits of code written, and that's a slightly more advanced use of MT4, which is not really in the scope of this webinar, but I believe will probably be covered in the more advanced MT4 webinar. Now, I'll go through how to place a trade, or a few different ways of placing a trade. So if we go up here, I'll go through some options actually. If we go to tools and options, we can see here, this is where we have our login and password. So that is stored there. Charts, we've got options here, for example, show trade levels. If you're entering trades and you want your entry level and your stop loss level and your target to be shown, and you're not seeing them, then if you go into options and charts here, sometimes this is toggled off. So if you just toggle that back on, show trade levels, then that will bring that back up for you. So that's something that we can do. And these things are not really so relevant to this particular webinar. So that's the one that I most often get asked a question about, is about the trade levels. So we'll see that in a minute, but if you're not seeing your trade levels, it is tools, options, charts, and show trade levels. So in order to trade, there's a few different ways that we can do that. First of all, I am going to just click on this new order. So this button up here, we can click on new order. We can also right click on the chart and go to trading and go over here to new order as well. It will bring us to the same place. So I'm just going to click on their new order. I'm in the dollar Swiss chart, so we want to make sure that the symbol is correct for what we want to be trading. Volume, I'm just testing at the moment, so I'm just going to keep it at the lowest, 0.01. Now we've got a couple of options here. We can do a market execution. That will just get us into the market live at current price. So we can either sell at the current price or buy at the current price. So if we click on one of these buttons, that will just get us into the market live at the volume that we've requested up here. If we want to place a stop loss, then we will place a stop loss. So I am going to, on dollar Swiss, just as an example, I'm going to buy at the current market price. So I want my stop loss to be below the current market price. So I'm going to put it down there, and I want my take profit to be above the current market price. So I'll pop it up. There. So I'm going to just click on buy by market. So that has entered me into a trade on dollar Swiss, and we can see here my entry level is this middle line here, the green dashed line, and it tells me buy 0.01, which is what I requested. And then I've got my stop loss here and my take profit above. So we can adjust those trade levels manually simply by clicking and dragging those. So click and hold on one of the lines and drag. Now, the first time we turn on, this is called OneClick Trading, where we're trading straight from the chart. The first time we turn that on, we're going to come up with this warning box here, asking us whether we want to activate OneClick Trading mode. So I accept, click OK, and next time I attempt to do that, it will have activated OneClick Trading and it will just carry out my instructions. So my stop loss is now down there, and I'm going to move my target up to the top there. Now we can do that manually. So again, I'm going to go to new order. If we have a level that we want the stop loss to be, then we can simply type that level into this box here, and that will put the stop loss at the exact level that we want the stop loss to be, and same for the take profit as well. Now, the other thing that we can do, instead of getting into the market live, we can see actually that this brings us to the terminal here, which is where we can see our trades. So we've got our trades here, we've got our account balance, any trades that we have active here, and the profit or loss currently sitting on those trades. So we can see here we're just slightly at a loss on this trade that we've just entered here. Account history will show us all of our previous trades, so all of our trades that have been opened and closed. We've got a few other tabs here, but these two will be the ones that will be most used. So that's where we can see our current trade. We can close the position directly there. So if we want to close the position, we can just click on the X there, and that will close that position out. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to new order. Actually, I'm just going to make a note of a couple of levels here. So for example, $1.0055, $1.0090, and 1.0020. So what I'm going to show now is how to place an order in the market. So instead of the market execution where we just bought at exactly the price the current market is at. What I'm going to show now is a pending order. So this isn't going to get us into the market live. It is going to get us into the market once price hits a certain level. Now, if I want to enter the market once price hits a higher price, that is going to be called a buy stop. So I'm going to enter a buy stop order, and the price I'm going to enter that is going to be 1.0055. Now I'm keeping the volume at the minimum volume there. I'm going to place a stop loss at 1.0020, and I'm going to place my profit target at 1.0090. So it's a buy stop at a certain price with a stop loss and a take profit, and I'm going to click on place. So that, you will notice, it hasn't got me into the market currently, because if we look down at our terminal, we can see the order there. It's not live in the market, it's just an order. It's a buy stop order. It hasn't been entered yet, but this is saying that if price gets up to this level here, 1.0055, then it will enter me into the market. It will buy 0.01 lots, and the target on that trade will be at this level up here, 1.0090, and the stop loss will be at 1.0020, the low price down here. So that's another way that we can place and enter trades. So it's not entering live, it's placing an order into the market, so that if price is coming from below upwards, it'll enter, it will buy if price goes through a certain level. So question here, how can I see a target on the 1 hourly chart? So much the same as at the bottom here on the x-axis, we can drag in and out to get more information on the screen. We can also do that same thing on the y-axis. So we can click on the y-axis, hold and drag up and down, and that will bring more or less information onto the screen. So that will, if you can't see the take profit and stop loss levels, if you drag on the y-axis, that will bring that information onto the screen for you. Another thing that we might want to do is we might want to see full screen. So of course we can just get hold of one of these charts here and click on maximize, and that will bring it so that we can see the full screen on that particular chart. To bring that down again, we just go back up here and we click on restore down, and that will bring it back down to the original size there. One other thing that I would like to show you, if I just right click on the chart here, and I'm going to click on OneClick Trading down here, and that is going to bring up this buy and sell option here. So now I literally can choose the size of my trade. So I'll leave it at 0.01, and I can click buy or sell. And now that we've turned OneClick Trading on, I can literally just click on this button and it will enter a trade. So we've got to be very careful of that, because obviously that makes it very, very easy to just click on the chart and enter a trade. We don't want to be doing that mistakenly, but that is another option for entering a trade. So I'm going to close that trade straight down. If we make an error there, then the best thing to do is close the trade straight down. We can also, I'm just going to remove that actually. We can also edit the orders that we've placed just by double clicking. So if we double click on this buy stop order, that will open up an option and we can modify the order there. So we can change the entry price, we can change the stop loss, we can change the take profit, or we can delete the order there. So that is another thing that we can do on just straight from the screen there. So let me have a look. I believe I have been going through your questions as we have been going. So hopefully this is being helpful for all of you. So any more questions, do let me know. I believe I've covered everything so far. And that is pretty much it for a basic walkthrough of some very basic functionality of MT4. So unless there are any further questions, I think we will call it a day there, having gone through most of your, in fact, all of your questions that I can see so far. Hopefully it's been of some use for you. So I'm just going to go back to the presentation very briefly, and we will just finish off by going through a little bit about ATFX as a broker. So why choose ATFX? Well, ATFX, it's a fantastic broker. They've got a great customer service team, winner of Online Personal Wealth Awards 2018. They're regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority, the FCA. They're an efficient, secure, easy-to-use payment portal. ATFX is committed to providing competitive prices for our clients. So competitive pricing, including spreads, very, very important for trading. Global investors' most widely used trading platform at MT4. I have shown you a very, very simple presentation today. I don't want to overwhelm people, and I know that there have been a lot of beginner traders in the room. And just getting to grips with some basic functionality on MT4 can be a little confusing at first, which is why we've put together this presentation. So I didn't want to fill it too full with things that weren't absolutely necessary, and I think I got through all of the questions. But it should give you an overview of how to at least set up templates and profiles, putting indicators on your charts, changing the looks of the charts and things like that, and then placing simple trades and orders in the market. So it really is a widely used trading platform with a lot of functionality, but it's definitely a great place to start as well. And ATFX, they have a bespoke customer service and trade support for all client trading needs 24/5. So 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So contact details for you there. The address is there for you, and there's a free phone number there if you are in the UK. So that phone number is there for you, 0800 279 6219. If you're outside the UK, there is another phone number for you there as well. And those are available for you Monday to Friday, UK hours, 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. And then, of course, sales inquiries for opening accounts. There's an email address there for you, and support customer service team there is really fantastic as well. So there's the support email address for you as well. So any questions, they will be more than happy to hear from you and help you through anything that you do need help with. So with that, I will wish you a good evening. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I hope to speak to you again in the not too distant future. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Speak soon.